I am just looking around being like, we'd be so dead. We've
Glass
got
is on
glass
everything.
behind both of us in the window, glass coffee table. My phone is in my lap. We'd be so destroyed.
We'd all be dead. Yeah. Welcome to Inchworm.
The podcast in which we're inching through Worm. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Ted.
We read Plague 12.5.
What'd you think?
Really exciting.
Yeah.
Love this kind of action chapter.
I mean, yeah, it's the chapter where Taylor runs home before Shatterbird blows up the city. Like, it just stands out in my mind as like one of the things I think of when I think about Worm and Taylor.
Nice.
Like, I'm like, oh yeah, she has no better option, but she just might be able to run home.
And she warns like half the city with bugs on her way.
Yes, she
Incredible.
is the plague, right? Like running through Brockton Bay, warning thousands. It's
when
incredible.
the sirens were coming after her, I mean, we'll summarize it, but when the sirens are coming after her, I was like, are they coming to arrest her? Because she's like sending creepy bugs into everyone's home.
Yeah, wow. Okay, I can summarize the chapter.
Yeah,
and then we can
go
talk
for
about it a little
it.
bit. So we start off with Taylor thinking to herself, I could kill them right now. And she's thinking about Jack, Bonesaw, Cherish. They're in range. She has deadly bugs. And she's bloodthirsty. She wants revenge. And she will save people. Killing Jack, obviously, the fate of the world hinges on whether he lives or dies. But she starts thinking, like, well, but she definitely can't kill Siberian. So she would be throwing her life away. And then she's thinking, well, Bonesaw is a medical tinker. So, like, how good is this plan really? Maybe, what's her life? She could throw her life away. But she starts thinking she's the only one who's trying to warn her dad. She's the one with the plan to save Dinah. So she reflects a little bit about what Brian had said. We tend to care about people we know versus strangers. And she's struggling to see things with the same kind of black and white clarity that she did at the end of Arc 7. So she's like, look, we'll have another shot at fighting Jack. This isn't even guaranteed to work. And other people are counting on me. She has one kind of last thought here of how much of my rationalizing here is because I don't want to kill somebody. She's thinking, do I have that killer instinct? People had died because of my actions or inability to do more. There was that merchant who I chose not to try and save, like very deliberately. And maybe on some future day to come, she'll need to swing a knife or a poisoned bug. And will she be able to do it then? She's not sure, but she turns to being useful as she runs as fast as she can through the flooded streets home. She uses her swarm, which is massive, to explore the city around her, find every person in her ever-expanding range, wake them up if they're asleep by stinging them with bugs, and then, in whatever way possible, finding a lit area so she can have bugs spell out, take cover, Shatterbird 28 minutes, avoid glass 25 minutes, right? Whatever she can do to warn people. And she's listing off like, okay, hundreds and hundreds of people. So like she's reaching thousands of people as she sprints miles across Brockton Bay. And she thinks, there's no way this is me. My power has to be helping me do this because, the complexity of this task, she thinks she's probably one of the best capes in the world at doing this kind of thing. She also calls her two minions. She calls Sierra, who has a day off at the hospital, and she's like, yeah, Shatterbird, warn the hospital, good luck. Then she calls Charlotte, says, yep, Shatterbird coming, tell people. Charlotte's like, I do not know what to do. And so Skitter says, well, tell everyone you can and tell them to tell everyone they can. Now go. And she thinks a little bit like, okay, some of the streets are more flooded. Getting around debris is tough. Oh man, I wish I was on better terms with Bitch. I could have borrowed one of her dogs. Time is really flying. We're getting down to like 10 minutes left. And she runs into construction fencing. She tries to have her swarm push it over. but they can't. So she has to waste minutes climbing a little metal fence. And she's really, really upset about this, like, petty little obstacle. And she just realizes she's not going to make it. She's not going to make it home before Shatterbird sings. And her only hope is that her swarm can somehow save Danny the way that they've been saving countless other people's. So as the time ticks down, she throws her phone away because it's a hazard and she just can't bear to watch the clock. And finally, she's in her neighborhood. She can sense her local Black Widows. You know, she's so close, but not close enough. And as soon as her swarm reaches her house, she just collapses in exhaustion in the middle of the street. And the bugs make it up to where Danny is asleep in bed. And as she's amassing enough bugs to wake him, some of her bugs start to hear something. And she realizes the sound is coming from the glass windows in Danny's bedroom. So all Taylor can do is use the small swarm that she has to start knocking over Danny's alarm clock, which has a glass panel on it. And it's in the process of tipping over when Shatterbird sings, which is like kind of like a sonic boom, right? Like there's a tidal wave sweeping through the city. It breaks all the glass. There's sound and then all of the crinkling of glass shards all around her. She sees over where the beaches are, a huge sandstorm come into being. And after she recovers from that sweeping past her, she rushes to her house, starts tearing off her costume, gets into Danny's bedroom, finds that he has been flung from the bed, is covered in blood, but he's alive. His face has been terribly cut up. Blood has kind of pooled in his eyes so he can't even see her. Taylor realizes the glass windows here have not sort of flown in to hurt Danny because Danny had taped them up. He'd listened to her when she warned him back at the beginning of Arc 11. And they have a brief conversation. Taylor says, "I'm not hurt, but we got to get you to a hospital." She does a really forensic examination of him, makes sure that, you know, glass hasn't gotten into his brain, into his spine. And suddenly Taylor realizes there are people in the house. So she leaves Danny right away, hides, draws her knife, hears two men exchange words with Danny. She comes back in ready to fight and sees that two paramedics are helping Danny into a stretcher. And Taylor is trying to think through, who is this? Did the Slaughterhouse 9 come? Like, what is going on? They wouldn't send paramedics. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for any of the other gangs, except one of the paramedics comes up to her, gives her back the discarded pieces of her costume. And Taylor asks, "You're with Coil?" And the paramedic's like, "Yeah, I mean, your teammates sent us. We were trying to get here before you did, but we had to take the glass windshield out of the ambulance first. But, you know, we're going to do the best that we can for your dad here. Our employer thinks that you could do more elsewhere. Mm-hmm. But he understands if you want to prioritize your family." Then Taylor decides that she has to go back to her territory. She gets into the ambulance to kiss Danny goodbye, say that she loves him, and he asks her to stay, but she doesn't. She leaves, she's starting to cry, and her power is buzzing, and she ends the chapter on a litany. Fuck all of this. Fuck the 9. Fuck Shatterbird. Fuck Jack. Fuck Leviathan. Fuck Coil. Fuck Hookwolf. Fuck me, most of all. Mm-hmm. That's Plague 12.5.
Yeah, all right. I mean, exciting stuff.
Yeah.
I am so fascinated by this thing where Taylor she says of herself, she's like, I have to be one of the top 5 people in the world at multitasking like this. And like, it's honestly incredible what she does.
Yeah.
Like, I could imagine directing like hundreds of little somethings to spell a message for like one person in one bedroom, and that would take all of my attention.
Yeah.
The idea of doing that, spelling words in hundreds of rooms at the same time, is absolutely bonkers. Like, there's just no way. Like she says, it's not her. It's got to be her power. I think this is the most we've seen that multitasking extended, and it's just phenomenal.
And it's almost understated, right? Like, she does say, like, thousands of people, you know, like, she talks about it, but she only needs to think about it to the extent that she is like planning it, or kind of like, now that she knows she can do letters, she just has to think about what she wants the letters to say.
Right.
Like
she's
that,
not like, and I'll put this bug here, and I'll put this bug here.
That lower level is just completely abstracted away. Now that she knows that she can write with them, right? She's doing it. The novel stuff here is like, okay, I'm going to use their senses. I'm going to find the warm places or the places with light, and that's where I'm going to put the bugs, right? Like,
and I mean, she's also, I don't know if we've ever seen her suffocate people to wake them up.
Oh, yeah.
So creepy. But, like, it's incredible what she does here. It's such an epic move. She's, like, running across the city. And the reason that she's able to run so hard and so fast is because she has this family member at the end of it. Like, the person who matters most to her is at the other end of it, and she has to save him. But, like, in the process, this wave of bugs moving across the city and warning people and probably saving a lot of people's lives. Like, I'm sure there are people who didn't get the message, or people who were just like, oh no, bugs, like, run into the wrong place or whatever. But, like, so many people had to have been warned by this.
Hundreds, if not thousands of people, sure.
Were saved by what she just did. Yeah.
And I struggle to imagine how you could have done better. The only thought I had is like, maybe if you can get someone to sound the Endbringer alarm, then maybe people go for shelters. But even that is... They
wouldn't necessarily avoid...
If people are in cars, that's like a death trap, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know what kind of rapid response system would be better than
Skitter running across the city.
Yeah. And the way that you framed that, right, she couldn't do it except that she had this family member there. I mean, I do want to give her credit. Since she got her power, she has been training her body, right? And so she doesn't make it, right? She can't run 5 miles in 28 minutes through flooded streets, but she gets close enough.
Yeah.
And there's no way she can do that if she didn't have the mindset of, I need to be in peak physical condition.
Right. She
I like
certainly
running.
Put in the work. Right.
But I think the more interesting thing is, like you were saying, she is so focused on saving her dad. Yeah. And she feels conflicted about that. But it's not a zero-sum game.
Right, it's not an either-or. The fact that she wants to save her dad is what lets her save all these other people, in part because her range wouldn't be as good if she weren't feeling as desperate.
Exactly. Yes, it's really beautiful the way that happens.
That reminds me of something you said to me. I mean, this is a very personal anecdote, but when we were trying to decide if we're going to have a child, and I was like, well, I mean, there's so many other people in the world who could use our care. And you made the argument that, like, a very human way to care for the world is by investing in the next generation, by, like, having a child and caring about their future and getting involved in the community through them. Yeah. And that feels very analogous to this. Like, if Taylor were just, like, sort of taking her human emotions out of it and being like, I will just save everyone equally, she wouldn't have the power to get through this scene.
Right.
She's able to save everyone else because she cared about saving Danny.
Right. Absolutely. And and it's so wonderful to have the example of this chapter contrasted with all of her philosophizing and worrying, going back to like, well, maybe it's not so black and white. And this chapter's a great example of that. I really am like, I love the part of Taylor that will not settle until Dinah is free.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I really am a Brian in the sort of like, the human thing is to care about the people close to you. And that doesn't mean that we can't fight for a better world and we can't delay certain kinds of gratification to make sure that we're giving back and everything, right? Like, it makes so much sense to me intuitively. I think I've called Taylor sort of an effective altruist before, right? She's not spending her ill-gotten gains. She's just kind of like living in this place and putting as much money as she can back into the community. But like, this is a really good example of how having that connection was for the greater good.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I mean, there is a difference between trying to save someone you're disconnected to and making that your life's work versus someone where you had an active role in them getting kidnapped and also choosing not to ally in a wholehearted or unlimited way with the person who did that thing. Like, there are a few different nuances there.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, I'm also very much like, it depends, right? come up with a moral principle, and then someone can come up with a trolley problem that makes you void that principle. And that's just kind of how complicated the world is. That's fine.
That's
we can
true.
accept that.
Going back to her thinking at the beginning of the chapter, also, she's thinking like, okay, well, maybe I could kill Jack, Bonesaw, Cherish right now. That would save a lot of people. That might save the world, but it would have all these terrible effects. And having read this whole chapter now, thinking about it, it occurs to me that, like, if she had done that, she would not have been able to go save Danny, and she would not have been able to achieve the side effect of potentially warning thousands of people.
Yeah.
And, in fact, there's a question of, like, okay, but if the world is going to end, maybe you kill Jack no matter what, but, as she pointed out, there may be a better plan for that. And if she had taken those actions, she wouldn't have been able to do... Like, what she did was probably actually the most effective in protecting people from Shatterbird.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still the problem of the biological warfare, but...
Yeah. I mean, I think there's some nuance there, too. Given where she was, the best thing that she could do was to run out to the streets and start saving people in, like, a very classic, like, I'm a superhero, this is what a superhero does, is run around saving people. But
bug spelling.
If her responsibility had been, how do I stop the city from getting destroyed if Shatterbird ever attacks? Right? There would be a better way, right?
That's true.
And
no one was very proactive in considering the Shatterbird problem.
The analogy that I wanted to pick up on, and one of my favorite details in the chapter, is it's a little ambiguous whether what she did mattered. Because the blocking of it is she starts to push the alarm clock over and it explodes. When she gets there, there's all this glass in Danny's face. He's been knocked off the bed. And it is very just not stated. The sort of like, oh, if I hadn't been able to knock that alarm clock over a little bit,
it would have been worse.
We never get confirmation, and like how could we get like confirmation? And we know, one, the ambulances were already on their way. If Taylor doesn't wake him up, somebody, his wounds weren't so bad, somebody would have, they would have come and taken him to the hospital. Taylor and Danny wouldn't have had that moment. But the part that really, really jumps out to me is Danny tapes up the windows. Yeah. Because Taylor had already told him. Yeah. Right, so actually...
Why didn't he get rid of that alarm clock?
Of course, but he didn't think of it, right?
Yeah.
But as much as she is being an amazing superhero in this chapter, the thing that she did that had the biggest impact on saving Danny, in my mind, is having the opportunity and the preparedness to warn him in advance. Yeah. And for him to actually trust what she says enough to go home and tape up those windows. Yeah. Right? So, like, I almost feel like she saved Danny back in, like, 11-1. Yeah. Right? And
his glasses weren't next to his head, probably.
We don't... Like, it's unknowable, right? You could imagine if she didn't run, the alarm clock blows up, he's dead immediately. Like, we don't know.
Right.
But
we don't know if she saved Danny in this... We do know she probably saved a lot of other people, though I'm sure not everyone.
Of course. So it's wonderful how this chapter avoids a simple moral lesson, right? If we had gotten out of this chapter and been like, well, if Taylor hadn't done this, Danny would have died. Or, Taylor doing this was an obvious failure. Yeah. She didn't help at all.
That's true.
Right? Like, it's constructed
ambiguous.
Perfectly to take us into this really interesting gray area. And... yeah, so I really admire that, and I admire how Taylor is missing some of the broader context. She gets to that construction zone fence, and she's like, oh, like, I resent so much having such a weak power, I can't even push down a fence. Well, like, she's saving thousands of people.
You're one of the best multitaskers in the world,
and
probably.
Again, something that is not related to her power at all, just like talking to her dad, is the thing. Like,
that's so true.
Like, if they'd never run into each other, he'd probably be dead.
Yeah,
right?
that's so true.
Her choice to not find a way to stay connected to him because of everything else she's dealing with, was putting him at much greater risk.
Yeah,
than any of the other stuff, right? So
that is such a good point.
So she is, of course, thinking like, my bugs can't knock down a fence, but like I'm looking at the chapter being like, but Taylor,
I know
he listened to you, he trusts you,
and look what your bugs did.
Yeah, you saved 1,000, 10,000 people.
Yeah. I am just looking around being like, we'd be so dead. We've
Glasses
got
on
glass
everything.
behind both of us in the window, glass coffee table. My phone is in my lap. We'd be so destroyed.
We'd all be dead. Yeah. But it's like, what kind of, if Shatterbird was real, how much of
Our
a person
lives
would I
would be different.
Yeah, like living in a bunker and like swearing off all technology.
Right.
Oh,
like, do you run the risk or do you adapt your home? Like,
Yeah.
what is the plan there? Because at a certain point, it's like, oh, do I put my phone in the padded box every night to sleep? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
do I just never wear glasses? Yeah, I don't know.
I wanted to circle back to the rationality of not taking a chance at Jack.
Okay.
Right? So, and I think we didn't talk about it in the last chapter, but Jack says to them in the previous chapter, a couple of you might be able to kill me right now, but then you would die for your trouble.
Yeah.
And Taylor thinks, well, he doesn't know about the end of the world thing, probably. So I wonder if he would be so confident if he knew sort of that he has this target on his back, right? But in this chapter, Taylor is basically like, maybe I take the shot, but I'm guaranteed to die, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's basically how she's feeling about it. And that's very reasonable, but I guess maybe connecting it back to like the killer instinct thing. How much of Jack's survival rate in Coil's, questions or whatever is based on like sort of imagining, okay, well, if Jack and Sundancer try to kill each other and Jack and Ballistic try to kill each other, versus the idea that like, well, maybe the Unravelers like aren't willing to die for a chance to kill Jack.
Right.
And I'm sort of wondering, like, is there anyone, Taylor didn't take the shot, but like, who in this circumstance, would any of the Unravelers have prioritized the fate of the world in the situation? Would any cape that we've met have made a different choice? Because I heard in what you were saying, this argument of like, okay, but I could just save the world by killing that guy. So like, kind of like, maybe, like, when do you take the shot? Like, if it's not guaranteed,
hard because
right?
it's hard to believe that you're saving the world doing that, right?
Yeah.
And it's such an abstract thing. Like, oh yeah, so he'll do something where within 2 years, a lot of people will die. It doesn't feel real.
Yeah.
Whereas Siberian coming after you in the next 5 minutes and killing you feels very real. And it's hard to pit that kind of reality against this abstraction.
Yeah.
And just thinking about the people, I mean, certainly none of the Undersiders would. We don't really know the Travelers well enough, and they've all really pledged to each other in a way that would preclude sort of them sacrificing the collective for this without, at least prior discussion, I feel like. So, like, Sundancer seems like the most generous of the villains we've seen, but she has pledged herself to this group of people, so maybe not. Colin would do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
I see it.
I mean, Dragon would do it too.
Yeah.
She wouldn't be risking her life in the same way, but if she were risking her life, she would probably still do it because she would be able to calculate, no, this is worth it. And yeah. And Colin is cocky enough to believe in his success, and he loves a big swing.
Yeah.
Like, he would have been willing to die fighting Leviathan if he thought he could bring Leviathan down doing it.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely.
Yeah. I was just imagining, like, would Coil do it? He gets 2 more chances than anyone else, right?
Oh, Coil would absolutely do it.
You think even if
but
it's...
only one Coil would do it.
Oh, right. But I guess what I'm saying is, would Coil take 2 chances?
Oh, no.
Right, without a guarantee of success.
No.
Coil would do it because, there's no downside.
Right. He would do it in one timeline, and then he would see what happens.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine? Okay, what if this whole time, Coil is, like, doing his normal thing, but then in every alternate branch, he's just running at Jack with a knife?
I love that. That's actually the kind of rational thing. Okay, well, I mean, you don't run at Jack with a knife. Like, you figure out something else. I feel like with the Slaughterhouse 9 here, things are precarious enough that he probably can't...
He can't afford
to do that. But that is sort of rational in a way that I would expect from him. If he's like, actually, the priority is to kill Jack. Okay, I need to always be spending one of my timelines on that, and sooner or later I'll succeed in a way.
Yeah, I also think, right, Coil, he's hands off in a very supervillainy way, but also in kind of a way, right, like, I guess maybe like Taylor and Colin and maybe even like a Glory Girl have in common this like, I'm just going to go out there and like do a thing.
Throw myself at a thing.
I'm going to throw myself at Jack, right? Like my body doesn't matter. Like this is what I can do. And some people by nature of their power obviously couldn't, wouldn't stand a chance just like rushing him with a knife or whatever. But
interestingly, the main reason Taylor doesn't do it in this instance is the people she cares about.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't feel like she wants to pledge the other Unravelers' lives on this. And she knows she's the only one in position to save Danny. She is potentially the only one who could save Dinah. And this is the thing Colin was talking about. This is why he doesn't have a family. Because he wanted to be able to be in a position of just defeating the villain and not worrying about the collateral in terms of people he cares about. He chose the sort of effective altruist method.
And it's so fun to get Taylor's thinking here because she's aware on some level of the potential for her rationalizing out of it, right? Like that's where she kind of ends up. It's like,
she's like, am I just...
But I've never killed anyone and I don't feel good about it. And so
why I'm not...
How much of this is like, I'll take any exit rather than trying to kill someone? And also like, if you try to kill someone and don't, then you still know, right, that you crossed that line, right? Like
That's true, and you don't get the reward of the world being saved.
Well, I saved the world, right?
Yeah.
Who's gonna...
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, because, like, reading the book, like, from the point of view of a reader, I'm like, okay, but would you really hesitate to kill Jack? Like, he's, like, the worst guy, and he's gonna destroy the world. But I can definitely see, when it really comes right down to it, most people would find it very hard to actually kill someone, even someone like Jack Slash. It's just hard to make that real when it's a character in a book.
And interestingly, she does start out in a very bloodthirsty place, right? She starts the chapter being like, I could kill them. And she's like, I want revenge. Like, these people suck. I'm so mad. And it's very characterful of Taylor to then try and like come back from the emotion of it. Like, I could imagine a lot of people getting more carried away by emotion, but Taylor's immediately going to be like...
So analytical,
Right, like, I can't kill Jack just because I want to and he's right there. I need to, like, I need to think through it a couple more times.
She also is probably right that there will be better times, but, like, maybe not. Jack is very smart. Like, it might be the only way someone could take him out is by doing something stupid. Because what he does is he sets up all these safeguards so that it would be stupid to kill him. Yeah. So you might have to be stupid to kill him.
Yeah. That's a fun insight.
You know who's desperate enough to do it?
Who?
Amy.
Ooh.
Yeah. I don't know if she has the context on why it would be necessary, but...
That is very interesting.
Yeah.
I would love to see... I mean, I feel like there are a lot of ways that could go.
Yeah.
Or like, there are a lot of circumstances that could
she doesn't have a ranged power, so, you know.
Oh, man. And he's got a really good ranged power.
That's true, but tough. Get inside his guard.
Yeah. The only other thing on this, like, killer instinct thing, I thought it was fascinating that she feels herself responsible for the 40-some people Bakata killed. Yeah. Because she didn't do a good enough job, like, stopping her the first time. That was fascinating. And, like, she also thinks about, like, Leviathan's victims and, like, not being able to save people in that moment. And, like, that is not... To me, that doesn't really add up. Like,
no,
that's not her responsibility.
It's her taking too much responsibility for stuff. Like, they were attacked by Bakata. Why would she think she should have been able to stop her in that moment? Like, they barely made it out alive. Yeah. She's not at all responsible for Bakata. But that is sort of the, like... a sort of version of her Dinah thing where it's like she's maybe indirectly responsible for Dinah, but like she didn't know, and like all she really did was not stop it. Like it would have happened whether or not she was there. Yeah. And she has this heroic instinct of like, no, it's actually my responsibility to stop everything bad, and anything that I don't stop is my fault. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's interesting, right? In this moment, she is feeling so trapped and so lost, and she is able to avoid the sort of binary thinking, you know, of like, well, I have to always do the right thing, and I know the right thing would be to, I guess maybe it's less of an obvious right thing to kill Jack, but it's sort of like, that's sort of what she's trying to think about. And actually, now that I'm talking about it, it's like, I almost wonder how much of it is not even a rational, like, I would save the world, but just that fear of like, if I was like tough enough, you know, I would take a swing at him. Maybe a little bit of sort of
the complex that Theo has of like, you know, like,
I don't want to be the weakling. Yeah.
Yeah. But in the Dinah moment, right, she's completely blindsided, and it's at a point where she's relatively like relaxed, and she's you know, getting along well with the Undersiders. So it's so interesting that like when she was kind of at her like high point, I guess she'd already had the Gru thing, so it wasn't really a high point, but like she was like a little bit more at ease. She reacts with the strong black and white emotional thinking with Dinah, and here she's under so much pressure.
Right, she can sort of afford the black and white thinking when she's more at ease.
Yeah.
It is actually funny, her thing about, like, it's my fault that all these people died from Bakuta's attacks because I didn't kill her, feels a little bit like Jack's thing where he wants to see how he can impact the timelines by small actions.
And will she not, 5 arcs from now, be thinking like, man, I wish I had killed Jack. You know, like all those bad things Jack did since I had that chance to kill him and I didn't. It's kind of the same logic she's using with Bakuta. Yeah, I mean, she might have those regrets. I'll be intrigued to see if she does. I did want to go back to the multitasking thing. Love that Taylor can do that so much. Can I read the sentence?
Oh, sure.
My consciousness divided 100 ways, problem solving, performing complex tasks for 100 different scenarios at once.
It makes me want to think about what the metaphorical implications are. Like, she's a multitasker. What does that mean for the story? What does that mean for how she's going to treat the plot points? Like, is she someone who is going to be able to resolve kind of everything at once, or everything, you know, she doesn't need to fit. Like, right now, she's picked Dinah as her goal, but, like, she's thinking too small. She's a multitasker. She can solve all the problems, and I want to see her try.
Oh, yes. I love that.
But what she needs is an army of minions to obey her, and then she can direct them.
Right. Well, that's the other amazing thing about this chapter is, right, again, me emphasizing the value of communication versus actually what her power does, because she does reach out over the cell phone network to her 2 minions. Yeah. And she possibly saved a hospital, right? I don't know how effective Sierra was, but like, I don't know, she could probably be pretty convincing.
Yeah.
And then certainly saved, you know, Charlotte and dozens or maybe hundreds of other people in her territory who wouldn't have otherwise been helped. Yeah. And again, that's like the more metaphorical use of her power. Right. She doesn't have a bug do it herself, but she actually just picks up the phone and reaches out to someone who will do what she says.
God, can you imagine being that hospital administrator who's like standing there arguing with Sierra, being like, girl, look, we cannot remove all the glass. That's just not feasible. Like, I don't know where you got this information. And then Shatterbird's like thing happens. And
then
like,
Sierra looks at her watch and is like, well, I have 5 minutes to get to the, you know, where I'm hiding. So she just runs away. And then the admin starts thinking, maybe. Takes off glasses, folds them, hides in corner.
Yeah. Now I'm just thinking about this thing about what if she had killed Jack? I bet Bonesaw would have brought him back.
Right. And like we just learned that he has like a part artificial brain to
I know.
So, like,
he's probably immune to everything. He's been taking iocane powder for years.
Yeah, exactly. So like, yeah, it is. And the Siberian is also right there. Like, you know, like I do buy the argument of like, this isn't going to be her best shot.
Yeah, we'll see. Just let Amy in there. He would never let Amy touch him.
Some other amazing things about the use of her power in this chapter. She calls out a couple of times. I think I mentioned, right, she's using the bug's sensory inputs, which suddenly clicked for me again. Thank you, Cherish, for all of the thematic stuff last chapter. She's the blind earthworm, right? She doesn't want to look too closely at things, but she is learning to use her power to actually see now, right? She's opening herself up to the sensory inputs, even though it's so hard to look through the eyes of the bugs, right? So I really like that metaphorically.
Man, I'm just thinking about Cherish putting her down, and then she went and just like manually saved thousands of people in the city.
Yes, it's amazing.
So epic.
But she is almost having an out-of-body experience because, well, like when she gets out her phone, she's like looking at her phone and still running as hard as possible, trusting the bugs to notice any like potholes in front of her. When she's going into her house at the end, she reaches through the broken glass to unlatch the door, and she has the bugs guide her hands to the latch, right? Like the way that she is just like optimizing her own physical movements with the bugs is so cool.
Her body extends so far.
Yeah. And she can feel her range extending. Yeah. Right? Like, I think this is the first time. It's not like, oh, I checked and my range was longer. It's like she can just tell, like,
it is extending actively.
This is I'm in a bad spot.
Thank goodness. One thing that occurred to me, I was like, oh, they're not going to have phones going forward. Mm-hmm. I bet Coil will be able to get them phones, but it's going to be like, oh, they're the only people with phones.
Yeah, right?
Like, it's a mark of the supervillains that they're able to access phones.
Yeah. I mean, like, are dragons' computers Shatterbird proof, right? You know, like...
Oh, I wonder if PHQ is Shatterbird proof in some way.
Right.
Noise canceling.
Yeah, how would that work?
Tech.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
There are tinkers. I'm sure they could build something.
Yeah.
Man, if a tinker could build something to counteract Shatterbird, though, that's the kind of thing that, like, you'd get, like, PSAs be like, have you gotten your Shatterbird, like, anti-Shatterbird, like, box or whatever? The way people need to have, like, carbon monoxide alarms.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Be like, oh, we haven't tested for radon and we haven't put in an anti-Shatterbird system.
Yeah. Okay, this is there's got to be, like, a scam supervillain that has, like, I don't know exactly what kind of power this would be. Maybe it would be a thinker power, but, like, basically their power is just that people believe
in their products, or
basically someone who's a pretends to be a tinker but is actually just a scam artist.
Nice.
So, like, they can build the Shatterbird boxes,
right,
and they don't do anything, but everyone thinks that they work.
Oh god, yeah, you'd make a killing. Yeah.
On the theme of communication, I really loved the paragraph about bitch. She thinks about bitch and trust. Basically, like, if we were on better terms, maybe she could have explained to me about the 9. Mm-hmm. Maybe I could have borrowed one of her dogs, and this wouldn't be as hard. And that's kind of the inverse of, like, warning Danny in advance, is, like, the fact that this relationship has deteriorated means that it's actually not the optimal run through the city.
The power of networking.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Coil at the end?
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
So Coil's minions seem so competent, first of all.
Yes.
Love all of them. Everything we've seen from the greater coalition is just really, really solid.
Yeah.
Love his people. Paramedics seem great. Really appreciated when the one was like, we can tell him we aren't allowing ride-alongs to, like, cushion the blow for Danny that, you know, Taylor isn't coming with him. But yeah, this thing where Taylor's like, oh, this is great. Like, Coil was able to send these people. And then the text says something about, like, yeah, the next moment it came, crashing down. So he's shattering down. That's a little bit too on the nose, and also not the idiom. Where apparently Coil is like, yeah, you can stay with your family, but I think you could be of more use elsewhere. And I mean, it is the thing where, like, Taylor is paying a price for all of the stuff she's getting right now. Yeah. The access, the goods, the priority, the paramedics who will come save her dad when there must be hundreds of thousands of people dying in this city. I don't know what the population is, but, like, a lot.
And I wonder if this is a sign that Coil has Taylor's number. The thing that she needs is to prove herself so useful to him that he's willing to give up Dinah. She told him that.
Yeah.
So he sees a button here he can press.
Yeah.
To remind her, I need you, you know, where you work. And why wouldn't he push that button? Keep reminding her, right, keep her in the fold.
Yeah.
It's also unclear, like, some of it could be in her head, right? I don't believe that Coil could ever mean that genuinely about, like, he'd understand if you would stay with your family. But, like, it is a couple of layers removed, right? Taylor has such a response to it. I could see it as, like, Coil knows exactly how to push this button. And I could also see it as, like, Taylor has worked herself up into this mindset that she has no choice. I mean, connecting it again to the Cherish thing, she has no choice but to be useful. She can't be useful to Danny right now, and just knowing she could be useful elsewhere sends her off.
I mean, I think also Coil has read her correctly, and I think that she will serve him better if he says, I understand you may want to stay with your family. I would be fine with that, but you could be more useful here. if she is voluntarily doing it, if he's making her make the choice, but making it clear what the right choice is, she's going to feel different than if he's like, you have to go to your territory. And she's like, oh, fine, but I'm not going to do a good job, you know.
Exactly.
Like, it's a very different psychological position.
I will say the problem with these paramedics is that they're all like perverts or, you know, monsters in some way.
No, I bet some of them just want a good paycheck.
Yeah.
The ones who
like
have to be
gun.
Perverts and monsters are the ones who, like, take Coil between identities and stuff.
All right. Okay, that's good. That's good. I can feel better about these paramedics.
Yeah, Herman Snipes, probably not a pervert. We don't know. But there's no reason to paint him with that brush.
He's a competence pervert.
Aren't we all? I did think it was notable that the previous chapter and this chapter end with arguably the two people who are most important to Taylor both bleeding out. Yeah. Yeah, it's
yeah, and it's not narratively done, right? The, like, my precious Blorbo is bleeding out is, like, a chance for the hero to, like, take a break and, like, make sure the precious Blorbo is okay. Mm-hmm. And so to have these back-to-back moments of Taylor being like, welp, hope you don't die, see ya. Welp, you know, hope you don't die, see ya. It's just, like, I feel like it's not a thing that I see in a lot of stories.
Yeah.
I love it.
Really keeping her moving. Yeah, I mean, the pacing in this novel is incredible.
Yeah.
I remember thinking in some of the early arcs, like, oh, some of these, like, early chapters are, like, kind of quiet and there's not much happening. That does not last.
No.
Just moving right along.
No. How are you feeling? I mean, were you worried for Danny? Like, how are you feeling at the end of the chapter? Are you desperate to get closure on the fate of Danny, the fate of Lisa? Like, are you just along for the ride? How are you feeling?
I was actually not super anxious about Danny. I was mostly engaged in the procedural details of the chapter. Yeah. Like, I was eager to see her get to the end. I was correct in predicting that the bugs got there, but not her.
Yeah.
But in time for the sound. Yeah, for some reason, the emotional valence of this chapter was not like, no, just tell me what happens to Danny. I do think there were places where I was reading fast because I did want to know what happened. Like, I didn't notice the bugs guiding her hand as she unlocked the door. Like, all of that just went right past me because I was like, what's going on? What's going on?
Yeah. And it's really exciting, like, you get into the room, and she's, like, looking at Danny, and then you only realize he's been knocked off the bed. Right?
I didn't even realize he'd been knocked off the bed.
Yeah, but right, it's great.
Yeah, but going forward, like, I just don't think, like you said, Tattletale's not going to die off screen. Like, I would be very surprised if she were dead. Like, it's not, I'm nervous, but, like, I'm not on the edge of my seat about it. Yeah. And Danny seems like he's going to be fine. Yeah. Like, there's more of an emotional issue there of, like, Taylor left again, and he asked her to stay, and she didn't. And, like, she feels terrible about that. And she feels very aware of the cost she is paying for her villainy.
Do we want to talk about that?
The cost of her villainy?
The Danny of it all?
The Danny of it all, yes. Yeah. I loved the exchange where he was like, are you okay? And she's like, not a scratch. And he just, like, relaxes.
Oh.
Imagine having this happen and not knowing where your daughter is.
Yeah.
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 I mean, fortunately, she was, like, the best prepared person in the city, but, you know, you didn't know that.
Yeah, and then also the way that, like, she starts asking him all these questions, and he's like, oh yeah, you took that first aid class. Right? It's such a sweet way for him, I guess, to rationalize a little bit of, like...
Why does she know what's going on?
I can let my teenage daughter take care of me while I can't see out of my eyes because they're caked in blood. You know, like, it's just a little bit of, like, he's like... The power shift here is, it's like, it's all wrong. I'm out of it. I'm in shock.
But you took that class.
Took that class that one time.
Him asking her to stay, though, was so heartbreaking.
Oh, God.
And her noticing how alone he is. He's still sleeping on his side of the bed.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. And that's another thing with the, like, I mean, like, this theme is all over this chapter, right? She has been avoiding Danny. Right, she doesn't want to go home. Yeah. She's not in touch with him. And here, she's trying to save him, and she, like, catches herself looking, right? Like, she's not blind. She sees, oh God, he's alone. He's alone in bed. She can't help but see that. And that's the kind of thing she's been trying not to see. Mm-hmm. And then
she left him alone.
Throughout this chapter, he's blind, right?
Oh, so true.
He can't see her. He can hear her. He knows that she's there. And then right at the end, they've been cleaning the blood out of his eyes. And she can see, like, the green of his eyes as he's shouting back at her, "Stay, Taylor, stay." No. So all he gets to see of her is her leaving again.
Oh,
it's so
that's
devastating.
Tragic. Yeah. But no, I mean, Danny has to survive because he's such an important story element for Taylor.
Oh, I know.
Although him dying would have turned her in an interesting direction as well.
Yeah. I also love Danny's like, but the hospitals will be overcrowded. It's a little bit of Taylor's self-sacrificing
No, exactly.
streak.
He's like, no, but I'm not that badly hurt, and other people are going to need that attention more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other parallel, right? Tattletale says go, and Danny says stay. Right.
Oh, you're so right. Wow. Fascinating. I'm not really sure what to make of that.
Well.
Like, that feels so compelling, and then I'm like, but wait, what does it mean? I don't know.
When she left, her remark was like, you don't know your daughter as well as you think you do, or something like that. Or like, you're not the only one who knows Taylor. And like, this is a little bit of that same kind of thing.
Tattletale recognizing that Taylor has people who are more important to her than she is.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I can never imagine it going another way.
Tattletale would never have asked Taylor to stay.
Yeah.
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 And Danny would never have told Taylor to go. Like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I guess it's like, really the telling difference is that in the moment, Taylor is more broken up about leaving Lisa than she is about leaving Danny. Different circumstances.
Very
Danny's
different.
in an ambulance.
Yeah.
She's had the whole intervening chapter to think about it. She now has the new threat of Coil, But Taylor's real low point is not in this chapter. It was when she says, "I don't know what to do." Right?
Yeah.
She has a purpose
true.
this whole chapter, and
yes.
she does. She almost fails. Or fails to make a difference, but she's there at the end. She gets Danny into the ambulance, and she can move on to the next thing.
Both Lisa and Danny, arguably the people who care about Taylor the most in this story, they're telling her different things in these two chapters, but it amounts to the same thing, which is go home to Danny.
Yeah.
So they do both know that that's what she needs.
Yeah. Oh, that's really nice. And and Taylor's the one in this chapter who takes herself away.
Yeah.
Do you think Danny suspects anything?
He's got to.
Taylor shows up minutes after Shatterbird.
Yeah.
An ambulance shows up minutes after Shatterbird.
He's got to suspect. I don't know if he suspects yet, but I think after this he will.
Yeah.
But just a little tiny suspicion. I don't think he has real evidence.
I did read a little bit of his "you took that first aid class" as almost like willful, like, I need something to make this make sense. I am blind to the obvious reality. Right. That my daughter is a cape. And so, again, if he was blind up until that last moment, maybe that's the moment when he starts to suspect, for real.
Yeah.
Oh, going back to the Jack thing, right. She thinks about, basically, it's stupid and selfish, but I have to save my dad from me. I wouldn't be able to keep going if I didn't.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, coming back to, like, why I'm always going to come down on this side of things. It's just, like, Taylor can do more good if she's not broken by sacrificing her father. Right? Like, it's not a problem that people have to work around their attachments. Right?
Yeah.
Like, as much as Colin thinks, right, he wants to be always prepared.
Right. Look where he ended up.
Yeah.
Like, look where he ended up.
The other fascinating thing about this chapter for me is the lack of feeling she expresses towards Danny.
Ooh.
She doesn't embrace him.
Uh-huh.
She only at the very end, when she's leaving, kisses him and says, "I love you." Mm-hmm. In the moment, she is like clinically, forensically examining him to see the extent of his injuries, see if he's hurt. She's like, "Can you move your toes?" Right? She's like all business in this moment.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sort of her practical self.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the part, I guess, that's the part that's in control right now. But it also, I think, is the part that leads her to be like, there are people in the house. Is it the Slaughterhouse 9? I'm going to go hide. She doesn't say anything to Danny as she leaves the room.
She just leaves him there.
Yeah, she's ready to come jumping in with a knife and like start swinging, right? And then once she realizes like, oh, other people are helping, then I feel like she is put into a state of shock, basically until she gets given her costume back. But
Right.
that earlier part, right, you know, she's like, I reminded myself of where my knife was in case I needed to draw it at a moment's notice. This is the aspect of her power that is like hypervigilance, right? It's like she's so worried about what's going wrong. She's just constantly like taking in all of the data that she can and trying to optimize and sort of like prevent bad stuff from happening, be on the lookout. She knows at any moment Sophia could jump out, you know, and like stuff her into a locker, right? Like, and it's sort of like, that's this part of her that is taking over in this moment. And it's so sad to me that she doesn't have it in her to have a sweeter moment with her dad, you know, like, and of course it makes sense. You want to make sure that he's not, you know, his spine isn't injured or whatever, right? But I just want them to hold each other, and they didn't get that in this scene.
They're not there yet.
Oh yeah, and she hears the Shatterbird attack coming through her bugs. Yeah. It's another important, like, you know, Chekhov's reminder to Taylor that she can listen through her bugs really pays off, you know, a couple chapters later.
Yeah.
I loved her costume symbolism in this chapter. She's shedding her costume as she runs in, right? To be in front of Danny. Danny, of course, can't see her, right? But she is then in this liminal state where, you know, she's again half in and out of costume, Skitter and Taylor, and then the paramedic comes back and gives her mask and is like, you don't want to leave this behind. And then goes on to say, and by the way, Coil wants you in your territory, right?
I was fascinated by the thing where she's like, this means Coil knows who my dad is and who I am. I'm like, he definitely knew beforehand. This guy is obsessed with information. He had you break into Ward's headquarters to like steal their files. He absolutely knows who you are. Yeah.
But yeah, it's another, I mean, we had her take off her mask in front of the others, right? It's just, you know, it's all falling apart for her.
Just like the glass of Brockton Bay.
I also loved the moment when she throws away her phone, right? Because it's, of course, the phone's going to explode. It's a bomb, right? She's not Cherish, like, holding a bomb to her chest, not caring about it. But it works also on the level of, like, when Taylor is trapped, she has a hard time seeing what's in front of her or like facing what's in front of her, right? Like she runs away from Danny, right? Like she runs away from the Undersiders with Dinah, right? And so in this moment, she is, for I think one of the few times in the story, she really runs out of time. She gets all the way to that breaking point. But like with the phone leading up to it, I couldn't look anymore. I threw it aside.
I love that she trusts to the bugs to push it down a storm drain. That was so
funny. There was no point in dwelling in the final minutes and keeping myself and Omni was dangerous. That, and I wasn't sure I could bear to watch the clock hit 0.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, she's doing everything that she can. I do just want to say the description of Shatterbird's attack was a really awesome passage, right? Just like the glass
it really
bomb
was.
and then like the sandstorm off in the distance. Yeah. Right. Silica kinesis. Glass and sand and everything else.
Siliconesis.
And the reminder that she's just like running through sometimes a foot of water. Like it's so intense.
I did really like the moment where she's like, was this just a justification? I splashed through barely an inch of water.
So good.
Yeah, a lot of good writing.
Okay, so at the end she decides to obey Coil.
Yeah, she's going to go back to her territory.
Right, so I guess, like, why does she decide it? And then how does she feel? Right, like, she just ends with this litany, fuck everyone and fuck me most of all.
Yeah,
like, you know, I guess I'm inviting you into predictions for the next chapter.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it makes sense for her to go back to her territory. There are going to be a lot of people who are really injured. I don't know how much she's going to be able to do for them, but hopefully some triage. Bugs can't really heal wounds. Sounds like a Bailey School Kids book.
Yeah.
But, I mean, important for her to be there. I am curious whether on this night of 1,000 glass shards, like, will other gangs be trying to take over her territory? Like, we know that they're at threat of that right now.
Yeah.
And we also know, she has to do something preventative about the water supply also. You know what I think would be super cool?
Yeah.
If she did bug skywriting. Just like, don't drink the water.
Yeah.
Drink bottled water. Don't drink the tap water. Like, she could, right? Like, especially, I mean, they don't have a flyer in their group, unfortunately. But, she could get, like, to the top of a building, get pretty high in the sky, probably.
Okay. So, I will tell you, there's more than one chapter left in the arc.
Okay.
Don't want to, tell you too much. But so, helping her territory, doing triage, following that thread, is that what the arc has in store for us?
Oof. I feel like, well, the arcs don't usually end on a cliffhanger, actually. I guess the Endbringer attack it did. I want to see one of the tests start for Regent and Bitch.
Okay.
And for everyone, which means...
Okay.
The Unravelers need to get on board with helping people survive.
If the tests are starting, then who's going first?
Well, one question I have is, does it make sense for them to all go at the same time, or should it be in different orders? Because if it's like Siberian chasing you, Siberian can't chase all 8 candidates at the same time.
I guess who's going first in terms of our narrative? Like,
okay, yeah.
If it's Bitch and Regent, is it 1 or 2 or more?
Right. Okay. I'm just like thinking, okay, it's not going to be Shatterbird. We know what Mannequin's thing is. It's probably not going to be him. Jack wouldn't go first. Bonesaw, I feel like we've been teased a lot about her, so it's probably not going to be hers right up. Cherish is a mystery. She hasn't tested anyone yet, so leave that in the mix. Shatterbird just did a thing, so it's probably not Shatterbird. Siberian, we know what Siberian's is, so that makes it feel like slightly less interesting as a first one. Burn Scar, we don't know, but
it's been
seems
teased.
Like it's really intense and doesn't feel like a satisfying one to start with because it seems like something that's kind of a flashbang type approach. Is my guess. Who's the one?
Crawler.
It's gonna be Crawler.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Doesn't sound fun for our Unravelers.
No, but Crawler's also the one we haven't seen.
Well, that sounds fun for us.
Yeah,
for readers.
So I think that's another reason why it will be Crawler that we'll deal with first.
All right, well, the first sentence of Plague 12.6 is, I never thought I'd be thankful in any...
circumstance. What is she thankful for? She's thankful for... I can only think of things she would think she'd be thankful for. Somehow being skinny. I don't know why that would be involved. I'm just like, what does she dislike that could possibly be helpful for her? I never thought I'd be thankful for the experience of being bullied, but it's helping now for some reason.
Yeah, so wise, Taylor. I can't wait for this wisdom.
I have no idea. But I do think she's going to go back to her territory. We didn't talk about Charlotte and Sierra at all, but I hope Charlotte managed to do something.
Charlotte's reaction is so real. She's just like, you what? The Slaughterhouse 9 are coming?
And Sierra's like, I'll try.
Yeah. Sierra's mad because it's her day off.
Right. It's like, you said I could have the evening off, and Taylor's like, you're about to die.
Love it.
Yeah, I think she's going to go back to her territory and try to clean stuff up. Yeah. Hopefully the Chosen aren't going to try to attack her territory right after the Shatterbird attack.
It would be rude.
It would be rude, but maybe they'll do it anyway. Ugh. Well, I guess we'll find out.
Next time.
On Inchworm.
Worm is a web serial by J.C. McCrae. You can read Worm at parahumans.wordpress.com and support the author at patreon.com/wildbow. Follow us on Tumblr and Blue Sky at Inchworm Podcast, or find our Discord link and any other updates on inchwormpodcast.com.